So even though the route that I've chosen hasn't resulted in more horsepower than if I were to have gotten a forced air setup, the mods that I have in place are going to make a forced air setup, if I eventually get one, an absolute monster. What is going on, guys? So today I want to answer a question that has been thrown in my direction many of times, and rightfully so, considering how much money I've spent on my charger. And that is, do I have any regrets going with a naturally aspirated build as opposed to going forced air? Now, before I jump into that, I just want to say thank you to those that continue supporting the channel, whether that is by, subscribing, commenting, watching the videos, or, purchasing something in the RT Life store. That store has been doing really well the last few months, and I really do want to thank all of those for buying those Mopar designs. I try loading up one every month or so and taking a couple down just to keep things fresh. So really, guys, thank you very much. Now, to answer the question of, do I have any regrets with the naturally aspirated route? At the point that I was deciding whether I should cam a car or go forced air, I just didn't have the money to really go down the forced air route. At that point, the forced air system was about $7,000. That was a Procharger Stage 1 with upgraded fuel injectors, fuel pump, and a couple other goodies, installed, dyno tuned, everything. I was promised to ballpark around 150 wheel horsepower. And had I done that, I would have been well ahead of where I'm at right now, spending similar money. Now, the reason why I didn't go with the forced air is because I wanted to forge the bottom of the Hemi, so that this way I could run more PSI. Many people run 7 PSI, have no problems whatsoever, but I wanted to play it safe, and the way that I wanted to do it would have likely cost me about $9,000. So that was a chunk of money that I didn't want to come up with. But had I spent that $9 grand, I would have been well ahead. I probably would have been closing in on 500 wheel horsepower, which is approximately 100 more than what I'm at right now. But why I have zero regrets about going naturally aspirated is because pretty much all the modifications that I have in place could actually work well with a forced air setup if I choose to do that down the road. We could start off with the exhaust. This is something that I likely would have had to have done anyway had I went forced air. Long tube headers, high flow cat, 3-inch MagnaFlow catback exhaust. This exhaust is going to work beautifully if I choose to go forced air with 3-inch piping in the back. The next modification would be the cam. Now, it would be a big bust if I wasn't able to use the cam with forced air. But after talking with Genetti Racing, Ted, he looked at the cam specs, said, hey, listen, you can run forced air with this cam. If I had to rip out the cam and, put another one in so that I could run forced air more efficiently, better, then the cam would have been a bust. But at the end, I got a cam that works well with forced air. I have an exhaust that's going to be less restrictive, which leads me to the next modification, the intake manifold. Now, if I go with a centrifugal force type of forced air, that is like a Procharger, it is a belt-driven type of turbo, okay? That means that my manifold will not come off the car, and that will not be a waste of money either. So, that all the power mods that I have in place would likely be on the Charger. So I don't consider that a waste of money. And with those mods in place, I think that, the Charger would be, closing in on some healthy wheel horsepower. Now, if I chose to do a roots blower, that will be a different story. The intake manifold could be considered a little bit of a waste of money because the root blower will replace the intake manifold. The next set of mods that I have are all, stuff that would work fine. You have a oil catch can, that would be fine. Okay, it would actually be probably even more helpful with forced air. I have a 160-degree thermostat, which would be perfect. And then you have a bunch of other little things like the taser, which would be fine. And then, you know, I have HR lowering springs that has nothing to do with it. As I continue modding the car, though, I'm going to have to get some things corrected, like the camber on my car. Eventually, I love the look of the Eibach lowering springs. I know I'm getting off topic here. I love the look, but the camber, as I add more horsepower, is going to have to get corrected. I'm going to have to utilize the full footprint of the rim and tire. Otherwise, I'm just going to be spinning like crazy. So, that's really the extent of the power mods that I have up until this point. And if you really consider, you know, what mods I have in place for the amount of performance that I gained, it's actually very impressive. And if I add some kind of forced air setup to what it is that I currently have at the moment, I think I'm going to be, you know, in really good position. If I forge the internals of my engine, combined with the cam, combined with my exhaust setup, you're looking at some major power. So even though the route that I've chosen hasn't resulted in more horsepower than if I were to have gotten a forced air setup, the mods that I have in place are going to make a forced air setup, if I eventually get one, an absolute monster. My car is going to be a beast. So that's really all I have to say about it. For those that are looking into these kinds of builds, you know, it's just have some fun with it. Things change, you know, you change your mind all the time. And yeah, that's really it, guys. Thank you again for all the support. Come on.
Итальянская машина была.
My TR3A is a 100 car.
Our challenge is 405.
Good down there. What do you think of just pushing buttons? Well, I think you're making the Come on, you.
This vehicle also features LED connected here, so you'll see there are two 10-inch touchscreens and touchscreens will integrate with the first row seat back and the second row passengers to interact with the TV system. There's also a 20-speaker Harman Kardon stereo system available for home theater, public, and surround sound. Both of those touchscreens give you HDMI device connections, USB ports, auxiliary ports, wireless streaming capabilities from any Android device. We also have a 4G LTE Wi-Fi hotspot available and standard Apple CarPlay as well as Android Auto compatibility. When it comes to safety and security, you have covered in the vehicle with over 100 standard and available features, including a comprehensive list of driver assist functions. Those include forward collision warning and adaptive cruise, both with full stop capability, lane departure warning and lane